everybody. Welcome to Real Horror. So looking forward to getting into these episodes 8 and 9 of Hannibal, with my awesome co-pilot, co-host for these streams, Vinny. How are you tonight?
I'm hanging in there like all of us, but not
Yeah.
too bad. Not too bad. Love these two episodes. Yeah, 8 and 9 were great. Uh, yeah, holy crap! Yeah, they're going places.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, I'm. This is great. I love. These were a lot of fun. You can tell that we're getting into like the end of the season, and so yeah, these were fun.
Yeah, yeah. How many episodes is in the? What is it? 13.
13 episodes for each season.
Okay, nice.
Yep.
Yeah, I forgot it was 3 seasons. So yeah, this is gonna be awesome.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, these are good.
And hello, superfan Adam Shawhan. He's saying my cousin Vinay.
Hey, Adam.
Hope you're well, Adam. Thank you for stopping in.
Hell yeah. I think Adam's he said I think he was catching up with these too.
Oh, cool. Awesome.
Good stuff.
Well, if Adam, if you do catch up and you feel like joining us for like when we start season 2, just let me know.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I'd be happy to have you.
Yep.
All right, so we are gonna go right into episode 8.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, so the first thing we see is and this was different because we're not dropped right into a crime scene like we usually are. We see Graham, he's working on something in his house. Like I don't really know what it was, like maybe some stand-up lamp or something. I'm not really sure. And then he's like hearing some animal noises and all of that stuff. And so and they're like unsettling noises, like howling and stuff. It doesn't seem right. So he goes out and checks, and we see him like in this huge field, and there's nothing out there.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's it, like that's the opener to the episode. And it that's relevant because we're getting a glimpse into how Graham's doing like psychologically.
Yeah. He's starting to lose it in these two episodes.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
Hello, Time Prophet. Nice to see you.
What's up?
Um, and yeah, so okay, so then after the like opening credits and all that, we see a kid practicing his cello in in the tutor. His tutor is Tobias, and he's the
Franklin's
friend.
friend.
Yeah, he's Franklin's friend
Mm-hmm.
from before.
The
Um,
opera.
the opera, yep. And the kid is talking about like strings, and he's like, "Are strings always made from cat guts?" Um, and and Tobias says, "Not always." And then it cuts to, um, well, it we don't see his face, but you can kind of tell that it's Tobias.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like Tobias's hands using like bowels and stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
yeah,
it looks like the one from Silence of the Lambs basement.
yeah, exactly. It really does. It really
Yeah,
does.
they did a good job
Yeah,
of that. But yeah, he's cleaning and
yeah,
yeah, he's got intestines that he's uh, going through the process of like making strings out of, essentially.
yeah. So we're getting the begin like that. It's setting the story up for this episode that Tobias is a a not so savory fella
Yes.
who uses human guts for his like string instruments, violins, cellos, etc. So that was wild. I wasn't expecting that out of Tobias.
Yeah, yeah. I even like how he's talking to the kid. You could see it on his face, like he's just like this something behind the eyes kind of thing.
Yeah. Um, Time Prophet. So you talking about Vinny's picture?
Hmm.
It's it's it was generated using AI. That's why it looks weird.
Yeah, it's Grok. Yeah, what I typed in, I wanted an eerie look
Yeah.
for these, and yeah, you can't get more eerie than that.
I didn't know. Time Prophet asked, "Did you know they use catgut for guitar strings?" So I did know that they used it for violins, and I don't. Yeah, I think that's all I was aware of. I didn't know that they used it for cellos and guitars, but it makes sense because they're both string instruments.
Yeah,
Um,
and I mean,
so
their voices are very. No, never mind. I had nothing to do with that. No, I do they still do that?
That's a good question. I don't know because
I thought it was more of an older practice.
yeah, I'm really not sure. Um, you know what? We should look that up because that's a good question.
Yeah, that's not good for the family pet.
I'm looking it up right now.
Unless they do it to old cats.
Or, like I hope they're not like, well, yeah, they had to have been like killing cats to
Yeah,
make
that's not
them.
good. Not good. I know in Europe, I mean, there's so many strays. Maybe that's probably where they get. I don't know. That's very
Yeah.
disturbing, though.
Yeah, it
I don't
yeah.
like it. No, sir. I don't like it at all.
Okay, so it says so first article that popped up from Forbes says that you can still find Kaka in many professional orchestras on a variety of stringed instruments, from classical guitars to those giant pedal harps that rest against your shoulder and make heavy sounds. So yeah, you can.
What the?
Yeah, this
Even
one
the heart. So what are they stitching them together and then? Like, oh, that's gross.
I don't know. I don't know. It's
Yeah, that is. Wow.
oh yeah, that's weird. I guess well, we all learned something today.
Yep.
Um
Holy crap. Thanks, Hannibal.
yeah. All right. So we found out two things. We found out that Tobias is a well, we know he's a killer. We don't necessarily know that he's a serial killer yet. And we find out that string instruments are used with the strings are used with catguts.
Hmm.
So that's cool. That's cool.
Wow.
And then next thing we see is Will and Dr. Bloom are both they're like looking for the animal parts in that field. Um and then they're like talking and they're talking about kind of like their dating statuses. And you can tell that like Will is kind of like hinting like he wants to have a relationship with
Hmm.
her. um it's starting like what I
Yeah,
mean.
it's
He's
they both almost come off like high school kids, like the way like they're responding to one another. You could tell like that kind of flirtatious thing is there.
yep, yep,
They're both interesting.
yep. It's not it's like it was very very subtle
Hmm.
earlier in the season. It's like now it's kind of straightforward, like, hey, why don't we get into a relationship? It's right on the table now.
Yeah, pretty much. And the thing is, like, because Alana, she's so professional, but you could tell how much she cares about him, and
Yep,
that caring is turning into something else.
yep, absolutely.
So
um
it's good. Everything's natural to the series. How they're doing it.
yeah, it progresses. Yeah, it has a natural pacing to it.
Yeah. there's certain elements that feel like they're moving kind of fast, like in
Mm-hmm.
regards to like what Hannibal's doing and stuff. But also like, but it works. Like the pacing, it's not jarring. It like it makes sense.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Absolutely.
very well done.
Yes. And then we next thing we see is Franklin is having his session with Hannibal, and he's actually talking about Tobias. He's like he's basically saying, you know, he thinks Tobias might be a psychopath because he's been saying a lot of dark things, and then he'll play it off like, oh, you know, haha, I'm only
Just joke.
kidding.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Very dismissive after he says something super dark.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. And then Lecter is like, you know, he's like, well, psychopaths aren't crazy, and trying to explain to him like, you know,
Yeah, they're very deliberate. They know what they're doing.
yes, exactly.
Yeah,
And then Franklin starts to wonder because Franklin is neurotic, and he starts to wonder, wait, am I a psychopath? And then Lecter's like, no, but you are attracted to them.
yeah. He's
And
definitely drawn to them. I mean, there's two now in his life.
yeah, I know. And the way he talks about Tobias, like he kind of like he has said that no, he's not like attracted in that way, but the way he talks to him does seem like it's a deeper level than just a friend. It's kind of
Yeah, because Hannibal says it too that he fixates on
mm-hmm.
people.
Yes.
So that's why it becomes like I said, like that fanboy thing. You
Mm.
know, it's
Yep.
they're enamored by a particular individual, and they almost have like these fantasies of hanging out with them and you know doing fun stuff. But again,
Mm-hmm.
it's not that it's a sexual thing. It's they really want to be, they genuinely want to be friends with these people, or
Mm-hmm.
they think so highly of them that
Yep.
yeah, like they want some kind of like yeah that friendship.
Yep.
But yeah, it's very weird. Like I said, I've seen the type. You know,
Yep.
I think we still see the type on YouTube.
Oh yeah, that kind of stuff will never go away. The
Mhm.
fan boy, fan girl type stuff,
Mhm.
that'll never go away.
Yeah.
It's just kind of part of human psychology.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, that
so,
I guess that feeling of belonging,
mm-hmm.
sense
Yeah,
of
wanting to
belonging.
be noticed, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Notice me, senpai.
yeah, literally, yeah.
Oh shit.
All right, so then we get to the actual kill of the episode, which
Hmm.
is odd because usually by now we would already be in the investigation. So this is a different order for this episode.
Hmm.
So yeah, this kill. Yeah, we are in a concert hall, and we see up on the stage, and it is staged, like the light is shining right down on it, is a man with a cello neck sticking out of his mouth. Um and yeah,
His
he's
neck is like flayed open in the front.
yes, his neck
Yeah.
meat is oh god, it's ripped open, um and uh when Will like reenacts the how he does, he reenacts the scene.
Hmm.
They show how the throat opens from the outside, and it exposes the vocal cords,
Hmm.
and then he says, and then I open from the inside, using the neck of the cello, and then powder on the wound, um is from the rosin of the bow, and then he says, I wanted to play him, and he says, this is my design, and then he starts playing the
The
guy,
neck
the
cello. Yeah.
yeah, he starts playing the guy like an instrument. It's
And it's such a disturbing sound as well.
oh dude, that sound, oh man,
Yeah.
it was not right at all.
No. No, it was
And
not.
then it was even crazy because he holds the cello like as if like Will Grimm is holding it as if he's a player, like he knows how to play.
Yeah.
And after he stops, you see Hobbs, the guy from the I think he was in the first
Yeah,
episode.
Abigail's father.
Abigail's father, yeah, he's clapping in the audience like it's wild.
Yeah.
It's just wild.
Yeah, he's still seeing this guy now. Like at every now, it's more prevalent. He's at every crime scene when he goes into that mode.
Yep, he's definitely
Hmm.
um
Like the
yeah,
guilt of it
Will
is
is haunted by him.
yes.
Yes, Death by Cello for real, Time Prophet.
Yeah.
And hello Grayscale. Welcome to the
Hey,
channel. Nice to see you. He says I love Hannibal. That's
yeah.
awesome.
It's so good, so good.
Yeah, we're having a blast reviewing it. I'm not sure if you're aware, but they do. We've been watching it on Amazon, but if you don't have Amazon, there is a couple of places online showing it for free.
Yep.
One of them is I always forget the name of it. The
Me
I want to
too.
I
I
want to say Philo, but it's not Philo.
no. One sec.
Death by
Pluto. Pluto.
Pluto. I knew it began with a
That
P.
was it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Pluto and something else. But yeah, there's two places you can see it for free right now, apparently. And yeah, if you have Amazon. But yeah, oh, again, so good, so good.
Yes. Very, very. Yes. Yeah, he does. Yep. Garrett Jacob Hobbs.
Mm-hmm.
Haunts Will. Yep. Very
Yep.
much.
That's right. Will Graham.
It is. I know. That's the kind of, it's like, it's kind of like the price you pay. Either you pay for the streaming service
Mm-hmm.
or you watch it for free, but you got to put up with all the ads. It's like,
I know, but even on the pay one, we're getting a lot of stupid ads as well.
yeah, that's true because yeah, I pay for Amazon, which is a lot per year, and I still have to pay like I still have to watch like I don't know,
There's at least what, three
like
commercials during?
yeah, a handful at
Yeah.
the least.
Oh, and I am so sick of the like those bizarre. They have very bizarre commercials. I'll say. I
You have
really,
bizarre ones.
yeah.
I usually get like car commercials
The
or
car ones pop up, but now I see that they're putting more of the agenda commercials in.
oh, I haven't seen those.
Oh,
That's
you're fortunate
that
that I hit mute during them.
that's funny. Yeah, that's funny how our ads are different.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
you
pre-
what?
I, I prefer when it's the car commercials.
Yeah, I know. They get annoying at Christmas though. I hate Christmas car commercials.
Oh yeah. They're too specific.
Time Prophet says I watch Transformers on Pluto. Time Prophet, you're gonna have to tell Tommy that on Collectible Pass tomorrow night.
Oh yeah, that's right.
All right, so yeah, now we see Lecter. Lecter is having his psychology session um, with Gillian Anderson's character, Dr.
Hmm.
Bedelia du Maurier. I don't
And,
know how to.
yeah, it's such a bizarre name they gave her, but oh my god, she is so beautiful. Especially the first
Yeah,
shot that you see of her, where like the sunlight hitting her, it's like, oh my god.
yeah, she is. She very much has aged very nicely.
Oh yeah. But again, the character too, it's so good because she plays it very dry, but very like she could see through him.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah,
you could just see it on these first episodes that she's popped up on. She could just like she cuts through all of his bullshit. Like he could charm the pants off of everyone and manipulate them so easily. She doesn't fall for it.
mm-hmm. Yeah, she definitely. Yeah, it's like she knows. She knows there's something like that he's putting on a facade.
Yep, that mask.
Yep, definitely. And so in this session, like he's talking about how he may need to refer Franklin out because he's afraid that he may have made Franklin feel powerless and everything. And in this segment, we find out that she has actually been attacked by a patient,
Mm-hmm.
and and we also find out that Lecter feels protective of her.
Yep.
So they
Yeah.
have an interesting dynamic as well.
Yeah, because she actually was trying to refer him to another psychiatrist, and
Yes.
he refused because he feels like he, in a way, that he's a protector of her.
Yep. And we get a little more insight into their kind of dynamic. I
Hmm.
don't know if it's this episode or the next one, but we do find out a little more, which was like, oh, okay.
Hmm.
There's so much I forgot about this
Same,
series.
same here. Because again, like when it first aired, like we were glued to them week to week, and then
Yeah.
the holidays and everything, and then they start to like play the reruns, and then when they came back, and then they had the writers' strike. There's so much dumb shit that happened.
Yep.
But that's why like being able to watch through like straight like this has been very, very good.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Yeah, this is awesome. Okay, so now they're all in the lab. They're discussing, how the this killer did it, and what he did to the vocal cords and everything, and during their like how they talk about everything. Will turns over and he says, "I had to open you up to get a decent sound out of you," and the way that they look. So in that moment, he was like, when he does that reenactment and he becomes a serial killer.
Hmm.
That's what he was doing in that moment, and it was so weird because it wasn't like we were expecting that. He just turned around and said, like, he just turned over to the body and said that.
Hmm.
It was so wild, and they just stare at him for a minute.
Yeah.
And yeah, because like they're all picking up on it, like, whoa, that was weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then yeah, Will comes to the conclusion that this is a skilled musician, and he's definitely killed before and all that stuff, and so they're looking for someone sophisticated.
Yep.
And then we see Will is at Lecter's office, and they're discussing the method of this killer and all of that, because that's usually how it goes. Like, they'll be at the lab and they'll figure out how the kill was done and everything, and they'll figure out like the kind of like um what the serial killer is about, and but then they'll show Will at Lecter's and they dive into it more, like the psyche
Yeah.
behind it.
Yeah, because it's like they're trying to get a full profile on them, so
Yep.
they get like a chunk of it there with the feds there and the coroner guys,
Yep.
and then yeah, and then he talks about it professionally um, uh, with Hannibal and or with Alana.
Yes. Yep.
It's good though. I like how they've been doing it.
Yeah. And I like this conversation because Will is like, this was exactly like a performance. I mean, that's basically what an orchestra in front of a audience is. It's a performance,
Yep.
and Lecter says it's like a serenade. But who was he serenading?
Exactly.
And then it kind of comes to Will, and he goes, maybe another killer.
Hmm.
Um,
Which again, with all the movies we know, that's yeah. There's
yeah.
it's in like every movie.
Yep. Yep.
It's so good.
So next we see Franklin is having his session with Lecter, and he's talking. He's talking about Tobias, and he says, Tobias said he wants to cut someone's throat and play it like a violin, and he's freaked out. He's like, someone just got found like that, and he's like, should I report it? And Lecter's like, um, well, why do you think he wanted you? Like, why do you think he said that to you?
Hmm.
And he said basically, he said it to Franklin because he
He knew.
knew
Yeah.
Frank. Yeah.
He would tell it to Hannibal.
Yes.
Yeah, because
Exactly.
he knows how much Franklin is obsessed with Hannibal, and
Yep.
Yeah, and that's what's piquing his curiosity too, because like he's got another odd look on his face when he hears that.
Yep.
Hannibal.
Yep. So now we know that that who he's serenading is actually like Hannibal Lecter.
Mm-hmm.
So then we see Lecter visiting Tobias at his uh like little music studio type place. It's
Yeah.
like a little shop thing.
It's a shop slash kind of uh, where he teaches
Hmm.
people how to play.
Yes. And they're discussing instruments and everything like that, and Tobias is kind of like playing it off like, yeah, it's terrible about what happened, and Lecter goes, well, maybe not, maybe isn't all that terrible, maybe the orchestra will be better off without him. And Tobias is kind of like, oh, okay, you know what I mean, like,
Mm-hmm.
now they're talking.
Yeah.
And Lecter asks if he'll help him out with something, because he says his harpsichord needs new strings because it's making an awful noise.
Mm-hmm.
And um and and maybe Tobias can help, and I'm thinking at this point he's referencing Franklin.
Yeah, I'm getting that vibe too, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it looks like they're both using Franklin,
Yes, poor Franklin.
right?
And then we see Will working. He's like doing that fly fishing thing. um and he's hearing animal noises again, and this time they're like coming from the fireplace. So he's going over, and then Alana comes over, and we see it shows, like, it pans over to the wall, and it shows that I'm sorry, Will
Well,
has like knocked a hole. He's basically torn out his chimney.
yeah, he's got a giant hole in the middle and a couple like on the sides.
Oh yeah. Okay, Time Prophet. We'll see you back.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, that, and it's like, oh boy, and he's like, yeah, it is, might have been a raccoon, and she's like, it might have been. And he's like, well, I think it, took off when it heard what I was doing and all that stuff. um and then they're kind of, they're talking, and they kind of share. It's getting close, and they end up sharing a kiss.
Yeah,
And
it's getting hot in her.
yeah. And yeah, but then she kind of not pulls away, but kind of looks down, and she's like, I can't do this.
Mm-hmm.
We wouldn't be good for each other, basically.
Yeah.
um
Did she say if she was in a relationship?
no, she just said, we can't, I can't do this, we wouldn't be good for each other. We find out more about that a little bit later.
Hmm.
She goes into more detail. But she's, she, at this point, she's kind of playing it off like, I have a professional curiosity about you and stuff. And
Right.
she's using that as an excuse as to why she can't. But we find out the real reason a little bit later.
Hmm.
So yeah, the next thing we see is Tobias is at Lecter's house, having um is this when they're having, I think this is when, yeah, they're having dinner.
Yes.
And he just comes out and asks, like, did you kill that trombonist?
Hmm.
And Tobias is like, do you really have to ask me?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's kind of funny, because usually everybody's playing games with each other, like cat and
Yeah.
mouse, all the time.
But he's being more straightforward with it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're both like right away, like just
Mm-hmm.
upfront with each other. And Tobias is kind of a little bit reckless, and he's like, and Lecter goes, you want them to find you? And Tobias is like, well, I want them to try. And he's like, the investigators will come, and I'll kill them, and then I'll kill,
flee. Yeah.
yeah, I'll kill Franklin, and then I'll flee. And Lecter's like, don't kill Franklin.
Mm-hmm.
And Tobias is like, I've been looking forward to that.
Mm-hmm.
And and he says, you know, I was going to kill you. And Lecter's like, yeah, I know, because I'm lean, and lean um, intestines are stronger.
Yeah.
And then he reveals that he has been like kind of stalking Lecter, and he
Yeah.
followed him to like this bus yard.
Yeah, no, I think he said he followed him. It was one night in the rain. I think it's when he took out that one doctor guy in the
Oh,
other episode.
okay.
Yeah, remember when he pulled up and the guy's car was like out of whack or whatever, or something was cut and it was leaking in the street.
Yeah.
He alluded to that night because it was a rainy night, and I guess he didn't think anybody was around or whatever. But yeah, oh, what you did, which like he says that he saw him do something horrible, and it wasn't just knocking the guy out. Apparently, I guess he did some awful shit on the side of the road and then threw him in his car,
Yep.
or he cut him up there. I forgot because I don't remember where the body was found. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's yeah, and Hannibal does not like that. He's
Yeah.
very upset when he hears that he was being followed and stalked.
Yeah. He's very like, he kind of stops what he's doing, and like yeah, he like, you can see he's not happy. And Tobias is like, basically, you know,
They
saying,
both, they both get up.
yeah, he's like, you don't have to worry, I'm not going to tell anybody what I saw. And Lecter, and he's like, it doesn't concern you what I do, it doesn't concern you. And Lecter says, well, yeah, it does concern me, because your recklessness is going to be is not going to just be drawing attention on you, it's going to be drawing attention on me as well.
Mm-hmm.
And and then Tobias is like, I could use a friend. And Lecter's like, I don't want to be your friend.
Mm-hmm.
And then Lecter says that he was going to kill him. And Tobias looks down at the food, and he's like, no, I wouldn't poison the food, I wouldn't do that to the food.
Yeah.
And then
More respect for the food than he does for Tobias.
yeah, well, because I mean, that's the result of his hard work.
Of course. Yeah.
Ugh. Ugh. Crazy. And then
Look into these eyes, will grab.
and
Where's
then
Jack Crawford?
yep.
But speaking of Will Graham, yes, as they're like, it looks like they're ready to stab each other. There's someone at the door, and he's like, "Were you expecting someone?" He goes, "No, not at this hour." And he looks in, and Will had invited. He just came straight in.
Yeah, he just comes in. And
But Will does not see Tobias.
right.
He walks into the other room. Like he's got like his double doors to outside is slightly open.
Yeah.
And Will sees that he had like food there and everything. He goes, "Oh, did you have company?" And he's like, "Yes, but they, my acquaintance had to leave pretty quickly or something, or had an appointment."
Yeah.
But
And
he goes, but it puts you in good luck, because now I have extra dessert if you'd like it.
yeah. And it's weird because like all of the signs are there, and Will just doesn't pick up on any of it.
Yeah, it's like that whole thing is because he befriended him, and
Yep.
we don't want to see that type of bad in our friends.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, it's like it makes sense, but yeah, it's still like, oh, come on.
Yep.
It's good stuff.
And yeah, as he comes in, he kind of like barges in too, and he's like, well, I kissed Alana Bloom. And he's like, and look on like this face is like, well, I guess come on in.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was just funny. And he's, you know, he tells Lecter all about like all that stuff, and he's like, I think she realized that the, you know, the animal that I thought was there wasn't really there. And that's what, you know, she's kind of freaked out about with me. And then and he says that Alana thinks it's a bad idea if they, you know, get together. And Lecter's like, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
And then Lecter decides to tell Will about what Franklin tells him. Like, he's like, you know, basically a patient of his told him that his friend has said all this stuff, and he owns like this music studio type place.
Yeah.
And
So
that
you should check this guy out, because
yes,
this could be something like.
Yep.
He's downplaying a little bit, but he basically he's handing Tobias over in a silver platter.
Yep.
I think
Yep.
it's also because he wanted to also see what again how much more he's capable of doing in the state that he is, because Hannibal is seeing he's progressively getting worse as well.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, he can see that. And I also think that he gave Tobias up because I think a, a lot of it has to do with self preservation as well, because Tobias is reckless.
Yep.
So it's like if he puts Will on Tobias's tail, is gonna crack the case, because Will actually isn't dumb.
No.
He just has blinders on when it comes to Lecter.
Yes. Yes. And I think that's by Hannibal's design.
Yes.
Because we see how much he's got influence over him. And again, it's how he's treating him basically in these conversations that they have. There's a lot of manipulation in there.
Yep.
Because again, he was being manipulated by Jack. He's manipulated by him, and then he's aware at times too when he is being played by both. But because now they're getting more, they're having more bonds too, especially Will and Hannibal over Abigail, which you're going to see more in the next episode.
Yep.
But yeah, it's good. It makes a lot of sense.
Yep. And welcome back, Time Prophet.
Welcome back.
Okay, so then we see Lecter is having his session with Dr. Bedelia. We'll just call her Dr. Bedelia. That's her first name in this. And he's talking about how he may have made a friend for the first time in a long time. And he's, at first, you kind of think he might be talking about Tobias, but turns out he's actually talking about Will.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
because it mirrors, it was almost like our relationship.
Yeah, he's like this someone I can talk to, and I find myself caring for and all that stuff. And her response is that, well, you spend a lot of time building walls. It's natural to want to see if someone is clever enough to climb over them.
Mm-hmm.
And then we see at Tobias's his like studio place, Will is there, and he's questioning Tobias, and Tobias oddly says, "I heard someone tried to play his vocal cords with a bow," and Will is kind of looking at him, and he goes, "What do you mean by try?" Mm-hmm. And Tobias says, that strings have to be treated. You can't just open someone up and draw a bow across their innards. And this totally, like, this really shakes Will, and Will kind of walks beside him, and he's like, "We haven't shared this with anybody."
Yep.
And he's kind of like checking the place out a little bit.
Yeah, and then right away Tobias, like he walks over and goes, "Well," he goes, like he kind of insults the process of whatever this killer did, because he's like, you're never gonna get that sound out of a human. It's because these things have to be treated properly. But he goes, "Me, I have synthetic ones," and then and he shows he gets his from Italy, and they're all wound up and still with like the little label on it. Yeah. He hands it over to Will, like, "Here, like, you could test it yourself." And Will just like he puts it down, like dismissing what he just said, because the red flags are already all up.
Yep.
But then Will gets he's hearing things again.
Yep, he thinks he hears something outside, and he kind of looks up and he's looking weird, and Tobias is like, is everything okay? And he's like, "You guys can't hear that?" And he's like, "Excuse me," and he goes outside, and
there were two police officers that came in with him.
Yes.
And they said, "Yeah, we don't hear nothing." And he goes outside because he's hearing that ringing sharp in his ear now.
Yep.
He goes to take a look, and he's like, a car almost hits him, kind of. He's standing in the street.
Yeah, but no animal. There's no animal out there, and he takes a pill, which immediately quiets everything. Mm-hmm. And he goes back in, and he notices like the officers are not where they were, and he's calling out to them. And then he walks into that other room, and he sees one of the officers is down on the floor, and there's like a pool of blood like by his head,
Mm-hmm.
and he like presses on the officer's little radio thingy, and he calls that in, and then he goes down into the basement, and we see all like all kinds of equipment and everything.
Now, this is what I find to be really interesting, because Tobias's whole kind of like that upper studio part where he kind of has a shop,
Mhm.
very reminiscent of the beginning of Red Dragon, when Hannibal gets caught. It looks it's very, very similar to how they did that. But then when we go into Tobias's basement area, very much Silence of the Lambs, the serial killer dude, the one who was on Monk.
Yeah,
yeah,
I
like
noticed that.
they did a really good job with sort of like recreating it to give like that nostalgia, that nod to both.
Yep.
Everything design wise is very deliberate, and I think very well done.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah.
I wanted to point that out because it was really good.
Excuse me. Yep. And then and then he's kind of looking around, and then there's kind of like there's like this I don't know what you call it. It's kind of like a curtain wall type thing.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes behind that.
You could see feet.
Yeah.
Underneath it. But as he's walking through that room, you could see like the other intestines and stuff. Like they're in the process of going through that stringing thing.
Yeah, there's like jars and stuff everywhere.
There's jars. There's some that are like kind of coiled up, like he just like cleaned them and then they're hanging to dry, and it's creepy stuff.
Yep, and he discovers that's where the other officer has been strangled, and his head is down like in the water and stuff, and then
we see the view of what his face looks like.
Yeah.
Will can't, because you see in the back of his head
where
the camera angle is, and we can see he's got lines across his face, and then as Will is trying to turn him around from behind Tobias, he's got like the metal like guitar strings basically, and like coiled, and like they're in each hand, and he's basically gonna try to strangle him or do the same thing to him.
Yep.
And they start struggling.
Yeah, they start struggling, but luckily
Will's still holding that gun.
Yep. Will is able to get a shot off. He doesn't hit him, but he goes like kind of like grazes.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he does hit him. So like he's got the gun between, but it's more pointed at Tobias's head, and as he pulls the trigger, he clips him in the side, and we don't know exactly where yet, but he did get hit in the side of the face. Later we find out it's actually his ear. Like he shot like a whole chunk out of his ear. But because the blast was in between both of them, he's like, his ear is ringing. He's like, he lost his equilibrium, and he's trying to shoot at Tobias he's running away through like the hallway, and he gets 2 shots off into the wall. But Tobias gets away. Out of that scene.
Yeah. And hello, Manliness. Nice to see you.
What's up, buddy? Oh no.
And then next we see Franklin is at Lecter's, and Lecter is actually talking to Franklin about referring him out, and Franklin is like, 9 doctors now. 9 doctors have dumped me and all that stuff, and he's like, are you just mad because I wouldn't report Tobias? And then suddenly Tobias walks in and says, report me for what?
No, wait, no, it was before that. There was better dialogue in there too, because when he goes, I have to refer you to someone else. He goes, you were a referral from another doctor. Like, I don't understand this. Like, he's getting so, like, the guy's being broken at that point.
Yeah, and he's like, this is 9 doctors now that have dumped me, and then like they're talking, and Lecter's like, you focus too much like you fixate too much on the therapist instead of your therapy,
Right.
and
And then,
basically that's the problem.
yeah, and then
And then
he says the line about Tobias.
yeah, and he's like, "Are you just mad because I wouldn't report Tobias?" And then that's when Tobias walks in and says, "Report me for what?" And then and they're talking, and Tobias tells Franklin that he's going away because he has just now killed 2 men.
Mhm.
And Franklin's, actually Franklin starts to act like a therapist himself, and he's like, it's okay, you're not alone, and everything like
We'll
that.
get you help. All this kind of.
Yeah, and he's like, you just, give yourself up, we're here, you're not alone and everything. And when he says you're not alone, Tobias kind of takes a step forward and says, "You're right, I'm not alone." And we see that Franklin is in the middle of Tobias and Lecter,
Mhm.
and I can already tell, like, how this is gonna go.
Yeah, not well.
Yes. And right then, Lecter says, like, he goes, "Franklin, walk away," or just basically tells him to get out of there.
Mhm.
But Franklin isn't. He's like still trying. He really
Yeah,
wants to help
he's
his
trying to
friend.
mediate
Yep.
still, and yeah,
Yep.
and Hannibal's very silent, and then he.
Yep. Yeah. And yeah, it was. And then I think
You
I
want me to say
really.
it?
What's that?
Yes. Do you want me to say it?
Go ahead.
Yeah, because as he's still trying to sell Tobias, on getting help, whatever. You could see in Tobias's face, he's not listening at all. He's just like eyeballing Hannibal. Hannibal's silent the whole time, and just as Franklin's talking, Hannibal grabs his face and his head and snaps his neck, instantly
Mhm.
killing him right there on the spot, and he
Yep.
just falls. And then Tobias goes, "I wanted to kill him." Like, because that was his thing, that he wanted to kill Franklin,
Yep.
and that's precisely why Hannibal did it.
Yep.
Oh yeah, it was heartbreaking for Franklin.
Yep. I personally think that there were 2 motives for Lecter. One
Yeah,
was he was really fed up with Franklin,
yeah.
and didn't want to give, well, maybe 3. He was fed up with Franklin.
Mhm.
2, he didn't want to give that kill to Tobias. He didn't think he earned it.
Yeah.
And then 3, self-preservation, because
Yes.
if Franklin is around, because he was just about to find out that Lecter is one as well.
Yep. Yeah, because Tobias is openly just willing to say it. Yeah, with some of the other shit that he had said during this encounter.
Milena says, so Hannibal was just being a dick. Yeah, yeah. He did try to warn. He did say, Franklin, walk away, get out of here.
Mhm.
But Franklin wouldn't listen.
Yep. Because
So-
Franklin, again, he thinks that he could be that therapist now. Like, again, his obsession thing. Like, it's
Yeah.
like, well, this ain't gonna work out. This guy's never gonna change.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Therapy was a failure.
Oh man.
Shit.
Yeah, so poor Franklin. That was the end of Franklin, which is kind of sad because his character was fun to watch.
He was, yeah. When he did come in those couple of times, I don't know. There's something about how he played it. The
Mhm.
kind of silly, goofy kind of guy who, yeah, it's just, yeah, it's not cool. It's almost like watching like a special needs kid or something.
I know. That is how it felt. Like,
Yeah,
it's like, why Franklin? He was like this helpless little thing.
yeah. He was a sweet guy. There was no need to. But yeah, again, Tobias would have said something in front of him, and then you know what? Well, he already said too much in front of him. Let's just end this now.
Yeah.
But then yeah, the 2 of them, they just start going at it. They're trying to kill each other.
Yeah.
Pretty intense fight.
Yeah, they have a wild fight, and it's Tobias. It looked like Tobias kind of had the upper hand physically over Hannibal for most of it.
Yeah.
But Hannibal ended up like the one move where Tobias goes to like kind of punch at Lecter, but it's through the ladder, and
Mhm.
Hannibal uses that to snap his elbow backwards.
Yeah, that was great.
And yeah, it's just
Yeah.
oh man,
And then you could see how much of a fighter he actually is too, because
yep,
even though he was kind of overpowered, the shots he was giving were very effective.
yeah, they were
Uh,
deliberate, definitely. Like
yes,
Tobias was kind of like just all over the place, like just throwing hands, but Lecter was very like deliberate.
yeah, every shot counted, and they did major damage to Tobias. I'd say yeah, Hannibal is definitely the
Yeah,
alpha. I think Tobias thought he was an alpha,
yeah,
and compared to Hannibal, he's not. Hannibal made him his bitch. So yeah, when he breaks his arm through like that,
yeah,
and then like Tobias is on one knee, he tries to get up, and then um, Hannibal gives him like a an open palm shot to the throat. Right away,
yeah,
he keels over, can't breathe, and then he walks over to the famous and infamous Stag statue,
yes.
which we find out is very heavy. He takes out his handkerchief, and you see him like struggling to lift it, and he comes down hard and fast on the back of Tobias's head, killing him instantly.
Yep. I love that because and then he uses that like handkerchief and he tips the table over staging the scene.
Yes,
And
yes,
yeah, that was great. That was
that was
great.
excellent.
And then he walks over to the piano and starts playing a couple keys.
Yep.
And then we see like the FBI and the coroners and everybody's there and we still hear like the piano playing
Hmm.
in the background.
Yeah, it's
And
so good.
yeah, like that was a beautiful shot. And yeah, like the coroners, they're taking the bodies away and everything, and the scenes being processed and everything. And then Will and Jack walk in, and Lecter says to Will that he's like, I was worried you were dead. And Will is really trying to figure out like this whole situation, like he's looking over the scene. And then Will says, he basically Will is feeling guilty, like he's like, I feel like I dragged you into my world. And it's like, dude, it's the other way around.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And Hannibal said something. Fuck, what was the line he said? Uh, when he said that to him. Oh shit, I can't remember what it was. I forgot to write that down. But yeah, there was something very deliberate he says as a response to him. But you
Yeah,
you could
no,
you could see you could see the connection, and it seems like Hannibal genuinely does care for Will.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
it's coming off as like almost like a real kind of friendship or kinship kind of thing. But in the same breath, Jack, you can see on Jack's face
yeah,
something doesn't look right. He does not like this at all, but
yeah,
he's not saying anything.
yeah. Yeah, this was the first time that we see that Lecter is actually fond of Will instead of just using him.
Yeah, but oh yeah, because Jack also, all right, that is one thing he does say though when he goes up to him. He goes, so wait a minute. He goes, Tobias, he just killed those guys. He's been found out, and the first place he visits is you. He goes,
Yes.
I believe he was trying to kill my patient
Yep.
Franklin, and Jack he ain't seen it. He ain't believing it.
Yeah. Yeah. Jack can't make this make sense. Jack is smart.
Yep.
He's not
He is.
buying it.
Yeah, his instincts are really good.
Yeah.
As shitty as he might be towards Will and how he's manipulating Will from time to time, yeah, he's very good at his job.
Yep.
Yeah, I do like that though.
So the next scene is when we find out a lot about Lecter and Dr. Bedelia, Gillian Anderson's character.
Mm-hmm.
So he's in session with her, and Lecter is like he. So when that fight took place, Lecter sustained some minor injuries, like he had a split lip
Yeah,
and
stabbed
stuff
in the
like.
leg. Yeah.
Yeah, and he was stabbed in the leg and everything, and he looks fine now. So there's been a little time
Yeah, he still has
lapse.
like a black eye.
Yeah, but for the most part, he looks healed, and
Yep.
he says he's going to resume seeing patients again.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're talking about that, and he says,
Yes, it's only been like 2 weeks, I think.
"Yeah,
is what they said.
yeah." and he says, he feels responsible for Franklin's death, and it's like, you literally killed him.
Yeah.
And of course she doesn't know that, so she's like, everybody has a responsibility for their own life.
Mhm.
And then he says, did you take responsibility when your patient attacked you? And she says, yes, but I don't feel responsible. And he basically he dead eyes looked at her, and he says, nor should you.
Mhm.
And is it just me, or did you also get the feeling that he stepped in and like took care of this person for her?
Very possible. Yeah.
Yeah.
It feels like there's something more there regarding her attack.
Yes.
And again, his protector kind of role that they sort of mentioned during this.
Yep. And that is the end of episode 8. Great episode.
Yeah, fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, that was like, man, I have forgotten so much. I forgot all about that she had been attacked by a patient and all that stuff. Like, yeah.
Yeah, there's so much I did not remember from this season.
Yep.
Some things, like as they were happening, and especially in the next episode, like I kind of recall good chunks of that. But yeah, it's amazing how like those other little details kind of just slip out of the mind.
Yep.
Just what a couple of years difference is. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yep.
Yeah, this series is so well written, so well done.
It's great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, and Manless. Yeah, I would say, yeah, sort of like, yeah, the Hulk Thanos fight. It had that vibe to it for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, those kind of stop hits that Thanos gave Hulk.
Yeah, the way they would kind of like blow for blow and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it did seem like that.
Yeah, good stuff though. Great choreography.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, and now on to episode 9.
Mm-hmm.
So we, as most episodes, we are actually right into the crime scene.
Yeah.
We see Will and Jack on the beach, and Will is Will's on some medication now, and he pops one of his pills, and then they walk to this like huge totem made out of a 7 dead bodies.
Pole. Yeah, human totem pole.
Yeah, it's a human totem pole. What a wild sight.
Yeah. Could you imagine that, just walking on that set, or somebody walking past the beach, didn't know what the hell was going on?
I know. Oh my god.
Holy shit. Yeah. And it's, oh my god, the various forms of decomposition too on some of these bodies.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was disturbing.
Yeah, manliness. So it's like the way that the killer arranged it is the parts of these bodies are like they're dismembered. And see, they were in graves and they have been dug up, and so they're arranged on this totem like you'll have like a torso, and then you'll have legs, and then arms, and it's like a puzzle. It's like, yeah, it's like a puzzle, and then sort of near the top, like these arms are coming out. We need to show a picture of that. I'm gonna look.
Yeah, no, I got it.
You got the picture?
I got it.
All right. Yeah, because you really, this has to be seen.
Yeah, hold on, present. There's a lot of creepy. Here we go. Yeah, so these are very disturbing.
Yeah.
This ain't such a bad angle. Yeah, this one is even worse looking than that.
Show the whole totem.
Okay, blow this up. Yeah, this is we have a fresh body on top, so these are mostly more decomposed.
Milliness says probably saw it first at Burning Man.
Yeah, probably. But again, for like regular television, like this was pretty extreme.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Very wild.
Yeah. But again, I like how they shot it. Is really this was really well done.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah, really crazy.
So yeah, we see that, and there's like graves dug up all around it, and in various stages of decomposition and stuff, and the so Will reenacts it, and we see like we see the killer like roping the parts together and whatnot and assembling the totem.
Mhm.
And then the last victim is kind of tied up and he's watching him, and then we see him we see like Will Graham as the killer goes over and sticks a knife into his heart, and he says, this is my body of work, this is my legacy, which is different because usually he says this is my design.
Yes. Yeah.
So that was a little bit different. I thought that was neat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because this is more symbolic. I mean, and again, just looking at the bodies, you could tell, there are older ones there.
Yep.
Yeah, on top of like with that fresh kill. So.
Yeah, because that one, the body, the person that we see being killed in this reenactment, that head is on the top of the totem, and you can tell because it's like barely decomposed.
Yeah.
So yeah,
and he's wearing and he still has on like a modern jacket.
Yep. You can tell it was recent.
Yep.
So then it cuts to Will is, he kind of comes to in Lecter's waiting room, and he goes in and he's like, I don't know how I got here. And Lecter's like, you're disassociating, basically he's saying, your empathy disorder is overwhelming you. And basically warning him, like, you can't keep doing this. This is affecting you too much. Like, you can see that he's genuinely worried about him.
Yeah.
Which is new. It's like, this is new. Usually he's just manipulating Will.
Right.
And he's like, you could hurt yourself or someone else. And he's like, I don't want to see you make your own totem.
Mm-hmm.
And then we see, so next thing we see is Abigail in group therapy, and she's discussing like the dreams about her father and everything, and she sees around her the girls that he had killed, and she's like, I wish that it was me, and the Marissa says it should have been you, so that it wasn't us and all that stuff. And then the last person we see that she sees is Nicholas Boyle, the guy that she killed in that house.
One of the victims, the brother to one of the victims.
Yep, Marissa's brother.
Yeah. Wanted justice and knows it's like she was guilty or something.
Yep.
She goes, had your father been what do you say? Had your father been captured or whatever, then you wouldn't have killed me.
Yep.
It was And then she wakes up in a cold sweat.
Yep. She wakes up from her nightmare.
Yep.
And then we're at the FBI now, and Will he's like apologizing to Jack, and Jack doesn't really understand the apology.
Mm-hmm.
And Will's like, all the bodies got to him. Like, I thought it was more obvious, I guess, than it was.
Yeah, because like that, I was more distant than usual, or whatever.
Yeah. Manliness. Jeffrey Dahmer, you gonna eat that? Oh my God. But he's like, wow, I guess I thought it was more evident, and then Jack goes, if there's a problem, tell me. And then Will's like, it's fine, but you can tell on Jack's face he's getting it that no, he's not fine.
Yeah, it's getting worse.
Yep. and then
But
we're at
I will say though that moment though when he reenacts that like the scene, and then the next thing he remember or the next thing that he's standing like in the office like that
mhm.
without any recollection of how he got there. Like I was like, oh, this is bad. Like
Yep.
your heart almost breaks for Will.
Yeah.
He's getting to this feels like a point of no return kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yep. And yeah, because he used to do this only when he was sleepwalking. Now it's happening. Now he's dissociating, and during the day.
Yeah.
Um,
Now, like the first thing that came to mind too was, do you think it was the pills that are doing this to him?
I did actually think about that. I wonder if whatever he's on is maybe exacerbating his, what's going on with him already.
Yep.
So yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
So now we are at the psych hospital, and Freddie Lowndes is there, and we find out that the Hobbs family house, her parents' house, has been sold, and she's like, I guess murder houses don't sell for that much in this, and oh yeah, and then Freddie's like, there's a wrongful death suit against the estate, so basically that's going to take everything from the sale. And
Did they say they give it to the victims of the families?
yeah, yep. So
Yeah.
that's good. So she's not going to see any money from the sale now. And remember, she had dreams about like going to college and all this stuff, and starting her life and whatnot. And she's got nothing. She's like, everything you have here this is all you have. And so she comes up with an idea like, how about writing a book? Can you write a book about me? And Freddie's like, well, I can help you, tell your own story. And so they come up with that idea to get her money.
Mm-hmm.
And then we are at the lab, and we find out that there are 17 bodies. And as Will walks in, he sees the pic of that body totem, and it really bothers him. Like it kind of like shakes him.
Yeah.
And they're talking about the latest victim. His name is Joel Summers. He's 40. He runs a cell phone store in Knoxville, Tennessee. And Will says, this one, he was special to the killer. Like he holds some kind of place that the others don't. So they're trying to like figure it out. And that's when Beverly says there are at least 8 other, recent grave robbings, across Virginia, like, but there are no crimes attributed to them. They all seem like accidental deaths, and Will says no, they were all murders.
Mm-hmm. And he knows there's a connection between them.
Yes.
Because there's something that's like 40 years apart almost.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's really cool. It's like this very twisted kind of mystery.
Yep.
That they're connecting.
So next scene is wild because we see Will at his lecture room, and this is normal, like when he's briefing other agents.
Mm-hmm.
He's given the info,
like training the newbies.
Yeah, and he's given the info on the victims and whatnot, and all of that stuff. And then suddenly Alana walks in. She's like, Will. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt if you're rehearsing. And Will looks confused, and then it pans out, and we see that there's actually nobody in the room, and there are no slides on the projector.
Yeah.
So he has just been imagining this.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
It's sad to watch the type of.
Yes. And she says, I regretted leaving that night. And she's referencing the previous episode where they shared a kiss, and then she was like, no, I can't do this. And he's like, regretted, that sounds like past tense. And she's like, I don't want to lead you on, but I don't want to lie to you. And he says, well, I won't lie if you don't. And she says, I do have feelings for you, but I can't be in a relationship with you because I think you're unstable.
Mm-hmm.
and he said, and she asked him, "Do you feel like you're unstable?" And he nods, like he actually admits, like, "Yeah, I feel like I'm unstable."
They promised not to lie to each other.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Because
And
she was brutally honest with him, and he's like, "Well, thank you for being honest."
yep. Yep.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
when they did have that kiss, though, it was a little bit more than a kiss because they pulled away a bit and then they went back at it. It was more
Yeah.
like 3 kisses during that, and like you could tell she wanted that. Um, and it's not just because he was holding his hammer in his hand. But yeah, no, yeah, when they're there together, I mean, you could genuinely see how much she cares about him, and that again, even like that moment, he still didn't tell her, like, he thought he was teaching this class, like that's the thing, he's still trying to keep some of this from people right now at this point.
Yeah, like he admits he feels unstable, but he doesn't say to like what extent that is.
Yeah.
And Manliness says unstable never stopped a woman before. Oh my god.
Somewhere Chris is nodding his head.
So we go back to the psych hospital now, and Will and Lecter are telling Abigail that no, this is a bad idea and stuff. And of course, we know that Hannibal has his own motivation for not wanting her to, do this book.
Yeah.
And Will is just concerned about her well-being.
Mm-hmm.
Putting herself out there like that. And she's like, well, everybody thinks I helped my dad, and this book can help me, set the record straight and everything. And Lecter kind of looks at her and says, if you do this, you're going to open a door and you'll be responsible for what comes through.
Yeah.
Are you ready for that?
Yeah, like he's threatening her.
Yeah, and the way he looks at her, and then she looks at him, and she gets the like there's some telepathic communication going on, like she gets it.
Yeah.
So yeah, he totally intimidates her because yeah, he knows everything.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a scary dude.
Yeah, I don't forget she knows that he's a killer as well.
Yeah.
So that's why he's putting that threat in there, because he's the one that made the phone call, which means he was also the one who was responsible for that other kill that was not her father's, the one that was left in the woods on the antlers.
Yep.
So yeah, she doesn't know the full extent of how much of a serial killer he is yet.
Right.
But yeah,
right.
It's a good dynamic, because she does give a really nasty shot towards Will regarding, like, just because you killed my father doesn't mean you could replace him.
Yes.
Yeah. So that was a good dig that got him very quiet very quickly.
Yeah. Yep. And then it cuts, and then we get this scene where it's nighttime, and we see someone digging up a body like in a field, and it's the snow and everything, and then the face is Nicholas. Yeah. It's Nicholas Boyle's face.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a cool scene.
Yeah.
I like how they threw that in there.
Uh-huh.
And then and then we end up back in the lab, and Will is he says, going by the totem, the the one on the bottom, it's got to be if the one on the top is the newest kill, the one on the bottom has to be the first kill.
Mm-hmm.
And Beverly says that the first victim is Fletcher Marshall. He was beaten to death in 1973 in Grafton, and his killer was never found.
Mm-hmm.
And so at the time of this, when this aired, that was 40 years ago.
Yep.
And and so Will said yes, so he got away with it, so he kept going. And Will says there's got to be a connection between Joel Summers, this newest victim, and Fletcher Marshall, the first victim. And then Jack comes in and gets Will, and he tells Will, Alana, and Lecter that Nicholas Boyle has turned up in Minnesota, and that his body was found in the woods, frozen. But they can't tell when he died. But he's been gutted, and because Alana asks how he died, and it cuts to Lecter and Abigail right after that, like right after they had stabbed him. It cuts to that scene, like Nicholas Boyle's laying down on the floor, and they're kind of like standing there over Nicholas's body, and then it goes back to Jack, and Jack says a knife wound, he was gutted. And then Jack says that he's having the body brought to the lab, and he wants Abigail to ID it. And Lecter's like, you already have a positive ID. And Alana's very against this. She says, she's already having nightmares about Nicholas Boyle. And Jack says, and I want to know why. And Will says, well, you can't think she had anything to do with this. And Jack says, I think that she's the common denominator between her father, Marissa Schur, and Nicholas Boyle. And he thinks that she has the answers. And Will's like, well, what answers? And Jack is like, well, let's start with where she goes when she climbs the wall of the psych facility at night. Maybe she's meeting Nicholas Boyle. We don't know. None of us know. And Alana is very much like sternly against this, and she's like, Hannibal, what do you think? And Hannibal says, well, I think Jack has a look of a man with no interest in any opinion but his own.
Yeah.
And then that's when Jack tells Alana, like, I want you to observe. And Will goes, if you're putting Abigail in a room with a body, I want to be there. And Jack says, no, you're not able to be objective about her right now.
Yep.
So he denies that to Will. And so Jack and Alana walk off, and then Will says that he could be doing, Will says to Lecter, Jack could be doing irreparable damage to Abigail with this. And Lecter says, well, perhaps she's stronger than we think.
Yeah.
So then next we see Alana escorting Abigail through the FBI down to the lab, and Jack is there, and Abigail does, she makes the ID.
Yeah. He's got the gurney with the sheet, and he lifts up the sheet. Yeah. And you could see, like, she's like got panic in her face and fear, and
she's horrified.
She's horrified. She barely wants to look at the body, but she confirms it. And then Jack starts questioning her, and as he's questioning her, Alana walks over like, you dick, like, put the sheet back over. Like, she walks over to grab the sheet, and he stops her.
Yep.
He wants the body to still be exposed as they're having this conversation.
Yeah, like he wants to elicit a reaction. Like he wants to get more out of Abigail.
Yeah.
And Alana is like not having this at all. And she's like, I won't be a party to this. And Jack goes, then you can leave.
Yeah. You were a guest. You were invited to be here.
Yeah.
Like he really he's strutting his peacock feathers at that point. He's like, like he ain't budging. He knows that this girl knows something. Yeah. And he's not taking like a no for an answer. He's like, I'm asking these questions. I need to see this reaction of her.
Yep.
But yeah, it's very fantastic acting on all parts during this.
Yeah, the acting in this has been phenomenal.
Yep.
No complaints whatsoever on any of it.
Some of the best. Kind of very reminiscent of like Breaking Bad levels of believability for sure. Yeah,
definitely. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
So Jack decides to ask her like where she goes at night when she escapes, and she says, well, sometimes I go to the city, sometimes the woods, it's just to breathe so I can get out of, my room and think and whatnot. And he asks, have you seen Nicholas Boyle since that night? And she says, only in my nightmares. And then Alana and Abigail start walking off, and Alana says, Abigail, go ahead. I'll be right there. And she goes back to Jack and says, she goes back to Jack and kind of gives Jack a look, and Jack goes, you believe her? and she's like, well, I think she's damaged, and she's using all of her strength to hide something, but it's not the murder of Nicholas Boyle.
Mm-hmm.
And Jack is like, what makes you so sure? And she's like, because any reservations I have about Abigail don't extend to Lecter.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, Hannibal has no reason to lie about any of this. Boy, is she wrong. I mean,
Yeah, because at that moment too, that's when we know 100% that Jack is definitely that questioning. Yeah, it wasn't just for Abigail; it's something else. He's been feeling something is off with Lecter for a while now.
Yep.
Especially that attack in his office is really upsetting him.
Yep.
So yeah, I do like that.
Yep.
Yeah, he's no dummy. This character is really well written.
Yeah, he is. He's great.
Yeah, and if we notice, like, he's not really having these dinners with Lecter anymore either.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
It stood out to me. Because especially, with the questioning of stuff and all that. Like, he was helping him with the marriage thing. And then, again, we haven't even been seeing his wife on these kind of last couple of episodes.
Oh, yeah.
So,
yep.
it's good stuff. Like, it really gets your mind thinking about these characters more and what could possibly else could be going on there and what Jack is figuring out and all that.
Yep.
Solid.
Yeah, awesome. So next thing we see is Lecter visiting Abigail at the psych facility where she stays, and he says it can sometimes be a comfort to see the corpse of a monster. And she says, Nicholas wasn't a monster. And he says, are you a monster? And she's like, I feel like one sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And then they talk, and they start kind of not really arguing about the book, but disagreeing about the book.
Mm-hmm.
And then he says, you betrayed me, with everything. And he says, he did all that stuff for her, and he deserved more than to be betrayed. And he says, I need to know that I can trust you. What if I can't?
Mm-hmm.
And you can tell, like, that when he says that, it kind of like she's shaken by that.
Yeah.
Because we know what happens when he can't trust someone.
Yep.
And she knows.
Yeah. Is that at this moment when she reveals her secret?
No, not yet.
Or it was later. Okay.
Yep. And now we're back at the lab, and so we find out that the headpiece on the totem, mm-hmm. Joel Summers, was adopted, and his dad was Fletcher Marshall. And then they figure out, oh, so Joel Summers is actually Joel Marshall. And then Price says, well, Fletcher Marshall and Joel Summers actually share no DNA. And then they're talking about Fletcher's wife, Eleanor, mm-hmm. how she died in a car accident 4 years after Fletcher was killed. And they kind of tie all of that information together to a man named Lawrence Wells, who was questioned mm-hmm. About that in 1973, but he was never charged, and he still lives in Grafton. So and then Wells says that Fletcher Marshall was a crime of passion, because it has something that none of the other murders had. And then Jack says motive.
Yep. So
Jack and Will go and visit this man, Lawrence Wells.
Yeah.
And he, right off the bat, he readily confesses, like.
Which I do like this, by the way, too. This is a guest appearance from Lance Henriksen.
Lance Henriksen, yeah.
Yeah, I love that guy. He's such a great actor.
He's awesome.
Yeah, he came in for just a day, half a day maybe, just to do this scene.
Yeah. Yep.
But so good.
Yeah. It was great. And
but yeah, he's like, they come into his house, the door's open, he's like, yep, I'm ready for you to take me, kind of like he's not even hiding it at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, he's just like, yeah, why bother? Do I look wealthy? I'll have a better life in prison. At least I'll be remembered there.
Yeah, instead of in a nursing home.
Yep.
Yeah.
And when we come to find out that that the last person he killed, he didn't even realize was actually his son.
Yeah, because so the crime of passion because the wife was cheating,
Yep.
and he thought that that they were, it was the other dude in the totem pole whose son that was, but it
Yep.
wasn't. It was actually they were raising his son. So Will goes in his face and he goes, so yeah, he goes, your legacy is that you had killed your legacy. The only
Yep.
your actual existing DNA, your child. That's the last act that you had done is because you killed off your legacy, and the absolute horror and defeat on Lance Hendrickson's face was priceless.
Yes.
Like oh my, I killed my own son. Like he was broken at that point. So yeah, so Will have, you can almost see the satisfaction in Will's face as he said it to him, like you piece of shit.
It was great. It was
Yeah.
a great comeuppance because he's Lawrence. Well, Lance Henriksen's character, Lawrence Wells, in this, he's so cocky. He's like taking pride in how he'll be at a funeral and he knows that he's the cause of everyone's suffering,
Yep.
and that he can readily talk to a widow and know that he caused her to be a widow and
Yeah,
stuff.
that pain.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
he's like
So Will giving him that gift in the end was like such satisfaction.
Yep, like he took all of his
That
he took
bravado.
all of his legacy, ripped it right out from under him.
Yep.
It was beautiful.
Oh, it was so good. It was so good.
Yep.
Like he didn't have to curse him out. He's like, yeah, take that.
Yeah.
So good.
And
yeah.
next thing we see is Will is standing over Nicholas Boyle's body, but he's daydreaming. He's imagining he imagines Nicholas gets up and then stabs. Wait, who stabs who?
No, he stands up to him, and then Will stabs Boyle.
Will stabs Nicholas. Yeah,
And as he's stabbing Nicholas, it turns into Abigail. And then Abigail's looking at Will, and Abigail stabs Will instead. Like it's like it gets reversed.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a neat scene the way they did that.
Yeah, because we as an audience knows, well, that's what happened to Boyle for sure. She did that.
Yep.
So, and it's almost like he's seeing it and realizing it in his mind, but we don't know if he accepts it yet as fact.
Yep. And then he's at Lecter's office, and this is a wild reveal. So this whole scene is wild. So he's then at Lecter's office, and Will says, Abigail killed Nicholas Boyle, and Lecter says, yeah, I know. I helped her dispose of the body. And Will is like, he's like, well, Will is like taken aback, but it's also like confirmation, because Will had figured it out.
Mm-hmm.
But Will says, have you told Jack? And Will says, no, I was hoping it wasn't true.
Mm-hmm.
And then Lecter's like, Lecter has an opportunity now to spin this and says that Nicholas attacked us, and then I helped her. I did it to protect Abigail, because they would have painted her as just like her father in the media and all that stuff, and completely lying about all of it.
Yeah, but the details too in the scene. So when Will had first come into the scene, Hannibal is at his drawing table sketching something, and as we know, Hannibal, when he uses his pencils, he sharpens his pencils with the scalpel. So when Will tells him pretty much that there's a confirmation that Hannibal had helped. You see Hannibal, he taps his surgical his scalpel, he had an opportunity, in his mind. It's like, I could kill him, but I'm not going to type of thing. Like, cause like he lets go of it. Like he only has like one finger on it. Like I
Yep.
like the playfulness of that moment because he knows he could manipulate him more easily than having to kill him. At least in this moment and in this scene.
Yep.
Which again, he uses them fancy words, and he does.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a great scene.
Will makes himself easy to manipulate because he wants to be like he doesn't want to believe that that Lecter is bad.
Right. Yeah, because he's done so much good, at least in his eyes. So
Yeah.
he's like, no, this can't be. But the way that he says it too, because he goes like, we have to protect her.
Yeah.
You know, we are her fathers now.
Yeah.
Which
plays on Will's emotion.
Yeah. Because he says, was it in this episode when he said that too? Where he goes, because you're hypersensitive to these certain things like that. Like he's manipulating him throughout the scene, and as he kind of tells him that, like, you know, she has nowhere to go. Like I did this to help her. You know, we both have to help her. Like, you know, if Jack finds out, this will be very bad. And Will pretty much confirms that because he asked him, like, are you going to keep the secret? He looks at him. And he nods his head, and then he looks out the window, and he's like, "Good."
Yep. Yeah. So now they have
dog.
a huge secret.
Yeah. So it's getting into these territories where it's like, holy shit.
Yeah.
They're not shy in moving this story forward.
Yeah. A very tangled web at this point. Very.
Yeah. It's getting damn good.
So, now the last scene, well, no, actually not the last scene. So now they're having dinner at Lecter's, and Freddie Lowndes is there, Will is there, and Abigail is there. And Will is basically like he shows his contempt for Freddie Lowndes, basically, like, you know, like she's
they haven't liked each other at all.
Yeah, because she did that shit article where she was calling him like
Basically
like
a psycho.
crazy. Yeah. And he's like, you know, you just write whatever, and you know, he just has no respect for her.
Mm-hmm.
And
she's trash.
Yeah, pretty much. And then we see Abigail and Hannibal cleaning up, and Abigail says because they keep Abigail like Will keeps glancing over at Abigail like I know what you are and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so when Hannibal and Abigail are cleaning up after dinner, Abigail goes, Will knows, doesn't he? And like just like he does, but don't worry, you know, Will is going to keep it a secret and everything, and you know he assures her she'll be safe and all that. And then the big reveal is to Hannibal, actually to us as well. She's like, I helped my father, and she's like, she reveals that she was the one that met the girls. She gained their trust. She found out where they lived, you know, clocked their habits, and
it's like her saying this to Hannibal is also confirmation that he can trust her again.
Yeah.
So because it's like this is bigger because she's breaking down a bit as she's saying it too.
Yeah.
You know, which is it's dark.
And he hugs her and says that he and will protect her.
Mm-hmm.
And then we see on the episode ends with it's a flashback.
Black and white. I like how they do it in black and white like that.
Yeah, too. I love that. The past episodes are in black. I mean, the past scenes are in black and white. Abigail and her father on a train, and Abigail's father spots a girl who looks just like Abigail, and then Abigail goes over and's like, hey, can I sit with you? And basically doing what she said that she always did with the girls.
Yeah.
To help her father.
Yeah, because she's afraid that her father is going to kill her, and he's made it clear to her as well. Like, you know, I need to kill these girls, otherwise it's gonna be you instead. Which is it's really disturbing. But when they're sitting on the train like that, he just gives her a slight look, and she's got nothing but fear in her face as she has to go over and put the phony face on to try to befriend these girls.
Yeah, like she is, you can tell that she is a victim, like she's been groomed and she's a victim of it,
Yeah,
but she feels like she's just as guilty as her father.
yeah. Well,
I don't,
yeah, definitely. Like as she was telling Hannibal for sure.
yeah,
Oh, yeah, because in those scenes too, in the flashback ones, you can see how she has to build up that courage to kind of walk over and put that fake face on.
yeah,
Yeah, it's good
yeah.
stuff.
She's definitely like, she's not doing it like, yeah, I want to be just like my father. Like
Mhm.
she has to, because it was either them or her.
Yep. Yeah, pretty
Um,
much. And yeah, and
so
then and they pan back as like the girls are talking, and we could hear them still chattering, and they zoom up to on her father's face,
yeah,
and he puts his head back and he's smiling.
yeah, yeah.
Creep.
And that ends that episode.
Yeah.
And Villainous says this far in the series, and no mention of bringing the elephants over the Alps. It's manliness and time profit, always with the elephants.
What's with the elephants?
Something about Hannibal and the elephants.
I,
It's something about history. I don't know.
okay.
But yeah,
We're talking about a different Hannibal. Oh shit.
Oh man, it's
Oh my
great.
god. That's hilarious.
But yeah, these were fantastic episodes. Yeah, a lot of fun revisiting these.
Yeah, it's such a good series, and again, it gets your mind and your gears going in a different direction too, because it's like trying to figure out the characters, their motives, and, who knows what, and I love this type of stuff. It's like sit down and reading a damn good novel. It's got enough mystery in there and other crazy stuff. Yeah, I know. But that it's a different, like I said, this is Hannibal Lecter, not these conquerors. Oh shit. Funny.
But yeah, that concludes episodes 8 and 9.
Mhm.
And yeah, looking forward to 10 and 11 next week.
Yeah, that's gonna be good. The following week, are we doing 13 and then 1?
I've been thinking about how to do that. It seems, I don't know, it kind of seems.
I mean,
Wait,
because
okay.
I know like season 1's gonna be on a big cliffhanger, and then we're gonna be able to hit, like if we do 13 and then season 2 episode 1 on the same one, it'll be like that, almost like instant gratification, like we know.
Wait a minute, no, because it'll go like this. So next week it will be 10 and 11.
Uh-huh.
And then the week
Oh, and
after
then
that will
12
be
and
12 and
13.
13.
Oh, okay.
Yep. But next season,
Uh-huh.
there will be an odd number of weeks. So
Mhm.
I don't know if we should do the first episode alone or the 13th episode alone.
All right, we'll figure out when we get there.
Yeah.
We got some
Yeah,
time
we'll have to figure that out.
Yeah, but these are so good.
Oh yeah, this
So
is a
fucking
blast.
good. Yeah.
All right. Well, that concludes the episode reviews for tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I wanna thank you all for hanging out with us. But before you go, Vinny, go ahead and let them know what you got cooking.
Yeah, some really cool projects and stuff. I am working on again Venus 2. I keep saying it, like we'll have more updates and stuff. There's plenty of things I want to show, but it is in massive spoiler territory. That's why I haven't really been doing too many updates for people. But yeah, because again, like this thing is kind of a big moment, a big surprise. It's a big action sequence that I don't want to ruin for anybody. But yeah, we do have again some awesome projects as always. Shadow of the Kraken, Through the Woods. That's all in the same campaign. If you guys haven't gotten that yet, which most people who are listening, you should, because it's again some of the best indie comic books you're ever going to get. A hardcover book with Through the Woods, a completed story there, and such high quality. with the artwork, the writing, all of that. And we have Shadow of the Kraken, a 52-page, perfect bound, beautiful format pirate story. If you're looking for another awesome book to dive into, and then of course I do have the art books over on the other campaign, which again you can find on my. It's all pinned on my Twitter or my X account, or whatever people want to call it. Yeah, at Vinny Art. So yeah, go check out all that stuff. The art books are gorgeous, and again, tons of amazing artwork. Some of your favorite characters. Oh, I actually have a Hannibal Lecter in the art book as well. The Anthony Hopkins one.
Mm-hmm.
So if you haven't seen them, if you want them, go check them out. They're beautiful. Just yeah, and oh, actually, I could pull it up. What are we doing? I'm talking about it. I got it right here on my damn computer. Give me a sec. It should be in here. Right about there. And open. So yeah, if you guys have not seen the other creepy, and again, both guys, man, they did such a great job with this damn character. But there we go. There's Anthony Hopkins.
Yep, looks great.
This was an older piece. This was actually shown on what's his name, Robert Rodriguez, when he had his channel. I can't remember the name of it right now. The guy who directed Desperado and all that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he had his own station. They had like some of that one of the underground wrestling promotions or something on there too. Oh, El Rey is what it was called. And yeah, so I signed what was the name of the contract? Basically where they got permission to show this and use it for, because like they were going to use it for like a promo thing for when they were showing Silence of the Lambs on their channel. So
nice.
Like, yeah, so I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's very well done.
So there you go. Very cool stuff right there. So,
awesome.
Bam. So yeah, that's in the 140-page art book, the remastering of Volume 1 and 2, with the additional 30 pages of unpublished work is in there now as well, and just gorgeous stuff. So jump on all of that, you guys, and tune in tomorrow on my channel and Tommy's channel. We should be doing the collectible past and talking toys. Trina should be there along with Slasher and possibly Adam, and we usually have a good time over there talking about the crazy figures we've picked up, giving some reviews, good and bad ones, just honest reviews. And then on Friday we'll be back on my channel for the Friday Underground, talking about some crazy shit. Because if you guys haven't seen it yet, I highly suggest you guys listen to the James O'Keefe, his latest drop. Whew, jaw-dropping stuff right there. And yeah, this should be blowing up into bigger news, so we'll see what happens. But and then of course on Sunday, because I think we're doing a movie on slashers on Saturday. I don't know which one yet, but on Sunday we're going to be continuing season 2 of Arcane with Trina, Tina, and Adam. So again, that's on my channel, and Arcane has been an absolutely magnificent, beautiful series, one of the best. I couldn't recommend this thing enough. And we also we discredit the nut jobs trying to say it's smoke trash. No, it's not. This is an amazing, well done series. Absolutely, top notch. Everyone on panel gave it 10 out of 10. And so far this season has been just again, more beautiful stuff. So I can't wait to start going over the next episodes, which is 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah, looking forward to that.
Trina, thank you so much. This is always a pleasure.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for doing this with me. It's been a lot of fun. Looking forward to next week.
Yep.
And Manliness, Time Prophet, and Grayscale, and Adam, thank you all for dropping by. And anybody catching on the replay, thank you as well. Hope you all have a great night and great week. This is my design. Great to see you. Hope you're well. Yes, thank you. Thank you for catching us on the replay. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
And hope you all have a great night and great rest of your week. And we will see you next week.
Yeah. Bon appetit.
Bon appetit.